how am I going to be happy if I'm trying to be successful? You see, everyone says that you're only ever going to work hard if you feel like there's a need to work hard. People don't just work hard because they have to, they work hard because they want to. It's much easier to survive than to be successful. And that's obviously something that we all know. But people who want to be successful and truly do things to make sure that they are successful are frequently quite hard on myself. Today, I had a meeting with my bosses where they spoke about how I need to better myself. And well, kind of what they said was that I needed to speak what was going on here out loud because they thought I was a lot smarter than I lead on. And my team would really benefit from just how amazing I am. And I understand that they had their like truly good interest at their heart for me, but also made me think I live so much in my head. I could very easily do so much better if I took the risk to just say the things that I want to say. But because of the self doubt, because of the negativity, because of all these weird thoughts creeping in my head, I stopped myself from taking the risk. And so I asked myself, I am going to be successful, but how do I do that while staying happy? And it doesn't just come from absurdism because, oh, nothing matters. Well, if nothing matters, then why do I want to be successful? In my previous video, I spoke about how absurdism is the key to happiness. In this video, I speak about how happiness can be found while you're trying to be successful in life. Here are some of the things that I've learned. Number one, detach yourself from the results. No matter how much people love to say that, it's actually really hard in practice because it requires so much detachment, so much letting go, so much, like there's a lot of risk. And the risk to reward ratio isn't really adding up most of the times. And that's why people struggle with continuously putting in effort. And it also makes me think that detachment is actually a little bit more complicated than just, well, don't attach yourself to the fruit. It's actually telling yourself that you need to keep trying until you succeed and not to beat yourself over the fact that you're not achieving anything over and over again, because that creates a loop and you spiral and you become very negative and really pessimistic. A really interesting quote that I kind of went across like on social media was, if I tell you that you have 100 attempts and 99 you're gonna fail, so 99 attempts you're gonna fail at, but the one is where you succeed, would you still perceive failures differently the way that you do? And made me question like so many things, because if I knew that, well, this is my 50th attempt and this is going to be my 50th failure, but 49 times of me failing later, I'm going to make it in life. I would think I've reached the halfway mark. And I think I would perceive things very differently, which is what I tell myself now. I don't know if I'm at my 30th attempt or if I'm at my 25th attempt, if it's just the fourth attempt, okay? But just the fact that if you keep trying, one day you will make it, it kind of changes your philosophy around things a little bit more than, oh, like detach yourself, because that's so vague, right? I didn't understand that when I was a kid, and when I read in the Gita that you just need to detach from the fruits and stuff, and it made me question, because I was like, oh, why should I put in so much effort if I don't even know if I'm guaranteed the results? Another thing that I tell myself is that you might not get what you want, but something much greater, much more beautiful is going to come out of it. And this has happened to me time and time again. I might have wanted A, but in the process of getting to A, I found B, and B was much greater than A. So God's plan above all. And to really surrender yourself to that, combined with your perception towards failure, is something that almost guarantees a much happier outlook to working hard, because the goal isn't to be successful, it's to witness that journey, because life is experiences. And what a wasted life it would be if humans didn't experience the magnitude of just about everything in life. Because if I didn't know complete happiness, I I don't think I would have been the person that I am today. And if I didn't completely experience all that intense pain and trauma, then I wouldn't even understand like how important happiness is. And because I understand happiness and in my metric, like I've experienced the max of happiness and the max of sadness. I appreciate both, and I understand that life can go between these two, and sometimes it can stay in the middle. Sometimes it's leaning more towards happiness. Sometimes it's leaning more towards sadness, but that's fine because that's life. And honestly, this is another perspective that is so important, and it's the ability to tell yourself that a bad day is not equal to a bad life, and that a good day doesn't mean necessarily that you're successful. You don't want to create an illusion of grandeur or an illusion of complete failure and inferiority. You just want to stay in the middle and say to yourself that everything is just an experience, and it's everything is fleeting. So whatever it is that you're trying to do in life, not every day is going to look the same. And one successful day doesn't mean that the next day is going to be successful, doesn't mean the day after is going to be successful. But what matters the most is you keep striving to success, to reach that success, to attain that success until you go from, oh, I've achieved all four of my goals on a Monday and a Wednesday out of the 7 days in the week. And that's still really good because it's better than zero. And then you keep working on how to get to maybe 5 out of 7. One more thing that this brings me to is do not put that pressure on yourself that you need to be successful at all times. Do not put the pressure on yourself that just because it's been a bad week that you cannot do anything in life anymore. Thoughts are lies. You can have good thoughts, bad thoughts. They're not objective reality. They're not facts. They're just opinions. And opinions leave lots of room for introspection. Facts leave no room for further doubts, but opinions are things that you can change, things that is defined by bias and perception, and so many different things like circumstances, environment, feelings, emotions, expressions. And what you need to understand is your thoughts are not facts because thoughts are consistently evolving, constantly changing. People can change like that. And that's how humans are. Finally, I think if you really want to be successful in life, there are four things that you must work on. There are four goals that you have to have at all times. One is physical goal, something to do with your physical state of being, whether it's I want to work out 4 times a week, or it's I want to do yoga 5 times a week. It does not matter. So, some kind of physical goal that you have, maybe you want to go see the physiotherapist 4 times a week, 3 times a week, I don't know, like whatever it is, just one goal that helps you become better physically. So, something that maybe you've been holding off for a long time, if you probably have an injury in your left foot, which I do, focus on improving that. And then another thing that you must strive to achieve is a kind of professional goal that you have in your mind, something to do with, well, what you're working towards and what you're doing right now in life. So, for example, for me, it has to do more with self esteem and voicing out things that you know. So, whatever I'm thinking, I need to speak about more because I've actually spent like majority of my life so far has been about reading and studying and learning, and I know that I have so much to give out there, so I must do that. Currently, my physical goal is to be as physically active as possible. I know that's vague, but I've said to myself, one day I'm going to do upper body strength training, one day I'm going to do lower body strength training, one day it's going to be full body, and one day I'm going to have to do some kind of high intensity interval training. What that means is that I need to, at least 4 days out of the week, do some kind of physical activity. And depending on where I am hormonally, I also want to be able to run and things like that. So where I'm in my cycle kind of determines how much cardio I'm doing. But overall, that's like my goal physically. The third one is something that has to do with your emotional self. So think about something that maybe, so for me, the professional aspect of things is very interlinked to my emotional side. That is, I kind of let self doubt come in so much. And that's why I'm also making this video, is because I know better. And so I need to voice out these things. My third goal currently is my emotional state of being. The more I doubt myself, the more self esteem issues I have, the worse I perform in my personal life, in my emotional, well, personal inner world life, and everywhere. So, because your emotional self is going to reflect all across, like everywhere you are at, you need to be working towards at least one thing. And how are you going to do that? There are lots of strategies on especially self esteem, or, well, if your emotional goal is to just kind of lower your cortisol levels, there's so many YouTube videos. There's just so much out there. Resources are plenty. We live in a world of infinite resources. So do that kind of research and try to push yourself, because if you're not constantly growing and evolving, you're not living. And that's the scariest that life will ever get. So physically, there needs to be a goal. Professionally, there needs to be a goal. Emotionally, that links to spirituality and things like that. It falls under the same umbrella. And the fourth one is something that I discovered very recently, and it was a goal that is kind of more fun. So for me, it's actually been reading more. And I tell myself, okay, I'm not going to be too hard on you, but you need to at least finish reading one book per month, or maybe two books. Last month, I did four books, I believe. And honestly, it's like helped me so much more. And every day, like, as you're working towards these four goals, you'll actually see yourself improving and feeling happier, because you need to keep reminding yourself that the number in your bank account does not determine how happy and successful you are, because that's exactly what capitalism wants us to believe. But that's a political debate, and I don't want to get into that currently. But I'm just going to end this video by saying that you really need to focus on the things that matter to you and constantly evolve and become better, because if you don't witness yourself at full potential, I believe it's such a waste of a human birth. And it is as Hindu as I think this can get. I think it's such a huge part of my philosophy in life, is to just constantly push myself to be better. And um my mentor actually said to me today that I'm too hard on myself. And it's so true. So my problem is not that I need to work harder. My problem is much more to not let my brain work so hard. And I think that's also a problem that lots and lots of people have, especially people who really want to make it big in life, people who want to be successful in life. And that's something that, we need to keep reminding ourselves of, because imposter syndrome is real. And you don't want to get into that loop. Because again, thoughts or opinions. um, my therapist shared this really interesting strategy with me, and that was, well, I don't know if it's going to help you, but the times that you overthink in your life or in a day, maybe it's 11 a.m. and you're with your kids. I'm a teacher. So if you're with your kids and there's like a weird thought, like a demon in your head says, you don't even know what you're doing. And before you kind of entertain that thought, you need to tell yourself, okay, cool, fine, I'll talk to you later. I don't have the time right now. I'll speak to you later. Allocate a time where you can actually talk about whatever it is that, your brain has been overthinking about, and give yourself the permission to, kind of let all the negative thoughts come in, and then write them down, like, okay, my bad thoughts today were, I'm not good at what I do, la 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 la. And talk to yourself, because maybe your brain is trying to tell you something. Maybe it's trying to give you a goal to work towards, because that can sometimes happen. But if it's all false, because what I do is I do this like mental brain thing where I'm like, true or false, true or false. If they're all false, then that's evidence that your brain is actually, it can be an enemy. But if there's like three false and two trues, then you want to try and work towards those things, because our brain is our best friend as well as our worst enemy. It's a lover and it's a friend, and it's your demons as well. So everything exists in your head. I recommend watching Inside Out if you haven't already. It really, it it's such a great movie. It talks so much about what I just said. But yeah, that's it for my video today. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, namaste and bye bye.